Welcome to Small Business Big Dreams, where every episode is a new journey into the world of entrepreneurs who are daring to dream big. In this corner of the internet, we're going to celebrate the innovation and the perseverance it takes to turn small ventures into booming successes. These small businesses aren't just places to shop, they're actually hubs of creativity and passion, each with its own amazing story. From the mom and pop shops to the innovative startups, we're going to explore it all. You'll meet the faces behind the brands, hear their stories, and maybe even get inspired to start your own venture. Whether you're a longtime local or new in town, come along with me for the ride and let's celebrate the backbone of our communities one small business at a time. Now let's dream big and spread some love for our local heroes. All right, well, welcome back to another week of Small Business Big Dreams. I'm over here having a very serious conversation. Okay, not that serious, but we are sitting down today with Dr. Lauren of Level Health and Wellness. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi.
I'm super excited to kind of hear your background, a doctor of what are we going to be talking about, and then kind of talk about all the different things you do for people. Welcome.
Awesome.
Cool. So give us the elevator pitch. Who is Dr. Lauren and what do you do?
All right. So I'm Dr. Lauren. The doctor is Doctor of Chiropractic. That's where everything started for me. I own Level Health and Wellness. It's in downtown Barrington. I do in-person services there that are cupping, acupuncture, and cosmetic acupuncture. A lot of people don't know what that's for. It's for anti-aging, so, wrinkles, fine lines, all that good stuff. And then I also have my master's in nutrition, and that's really my biggest part of my business is online nutrition and weight loss coaching. So
as I'm sitting here drinking a beer and just finished stuffing my face with tacos right before you walked in. Yeah. Well, I'm ready to be schooled. Awesome. So hopefully everybody's going to learn some things today because I know I could use it. So let's talk. What did you do before? How did you get to this point? Was you just schooling nonstop, or what did your life look like before doctor?
Oh my gosh. So I feel like the vast majority of my life has been school. So in 2018, I graduated chiropractic school and then I got my master's after that. But, I went to undergrad. I had no idea what I was doing. I took 5 years to finish. I changed my major like 8 or 9 times. I went to 3 different schools. So it took me a while to kind of figure it out. But once I did, within chiropractic school, I really fell in love with the nutrition courses and knew that's always something I wanted to pursue. And then last year, almost exactly a year ago, like a year and a month ago, I broke my ankle in 3 places.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was not a good time. So obviously, couldn't work as a chiropractor anymore. Couldn't stand or walk or really do anything. So that really forced me to, take some time to figure out what I really wanted to do going forward and like what options actually were since I was broken.
Not broken, just different. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Healing. So I had a lot of time to really think about it. And, I was certified in acupuncture. I'm like, maybe I can do something with that. How can I blend that with nutrition? Like, how can I make this a business where I don't have to go back to doing the physical stuff anymore, but not completely abandon the degree that I've worked years and years for?
Well, that was a lot. You just emotionally, I'm overloaded. So I where are we going to double click into first? Do we ask how did you break your ankle in 3 different spots?
Yeah. Total freak accident. I know, it seems really silly. I wish it was a cooler story. But a couple things. Had socks on a wood floor, and 2, I left a suitcase out in the middle of the floor. It was dark, walked straight into it, and my foot stayed planted, and I fell the opposite way. So spiral fracture, 3 places.
Okay, so first off, that sounds incredibly painful.
Yeah.
But you need to come up with a better story when people ask, you just need some crazy dirt bike jumping, trying some triple spin axle thing or something.
I know. It's
I
funny
tripped over my suitcase in the dark.
Yeah, it's kind of like a life alert old lady falling and I can't get up story. It's not that cool, but funny you say dirt bikes because I do have a motorcycle, and then people are like, "Oh, was it on your bike?" I'm like, "No."
Maybe
floor.
Start saying yes. Oh no. Well, I'm glad you haven't taken a spill on the bike.
Yeah.
But so it seems like this ankle break, change the direction of the rest of your life, sort of say, right?
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of weird where I was like, I don't want to be thankful for breaking my ankle, but it was a blessing in disguise because I got out of a job where I was really unhappy, and I've started my own business, and I'm able to do like what I've always wanted. So
very interesting. So I had a very similar situation when I want to talk about school for a second. So if you don't want to talk about this, you can tell me to shut up. But like, so 5 years, totally get it. Changed your major 8 times, did you say? 8 or 9 times?
Yeah, I lost count.
So like, what were you always kind of in the medical field, or was it like all over the place?
It was really all over the place. My dad and my grandpa and my mom actually all went to law school. My mom doesn't practice anymore. So I was like, well, maybe that's what I'll do. And I was kind of thinking like, what would be my undergrad major for that? And then I was like, you know what? Just not my personality. And I thought about psychology and sociology, and that's like almost kind of where I got into science, where I'm like, I like how the brain works.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not really my thing either. And then I took a biology course, and I was like, oh,
This
I like
is
science.
That's what clicked. Okay.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to talk about like people who've gone through extensive education like yourself, and like the process of like, some people go in, they're like hyper focused. They knew from like freshman year of high school, like, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to get there. And then there's more people with stories like yours where it's just like, yeah, I had no freaking clue. And that's okay. Or we talk to people that, they get a degree in XYZ and they're doing ABC afterwards, and it's crazy to hear these stories. But to our listeners, it's okay. So if you're trying to figure out what you want to do and you haven't yet, that's okay. And if you're studying something and end up in something else, that's okay too.
Absolutely. I promise.
And you'll end up okay. I can vouch for that. Lauren can vouch for that, changing their degree a couple times. So the time frame again. So when did you break your ankle?
July of last year.
July of last year. So this is all relatively new. So we're literally just a year in all this. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you broke your ankle, decided to go on your own, do your own thing. Now kind of talk to us now. Like, what does that look like? What were some of your challenges early on? I mean, we're still kind of quote unquote early on, what are you trying to figure out?
I mean, there's still challenges. I think at the beginning I was, very excited and a little blindsided on certain things like, budgeting and money and marketing. And like, I didn't really have any mentorship there. So I had no idea what I was doing. So I've definitely found out, by spending money on things that didn't work, what works for me in my industry, and like even other like healthcare providers and similar people, like not everything works for everybody, and all advertising is pricey. So you're gambling every time. So I think that was honestly the hardest part, because I didn't even have anybody to ask. I'm like, I don't even know.
Finding out somebody, or, you do. And the other problem is I've run into, like, when I reach out and ask sometimes, it's like, you get 6 different opinions. It's like, well, then what do I do then? And so it's like, it's actually almost more confusing at that point, but learning things the hard way. Sometimes we have to do it, right?
I learned a lesson a couple times.
You mind sharing one of your stories of a lesson you learned?
Yeah, I won't mention the race by name because they're good people. It's not totally their fault, only a little. But it cost me $700 to sponsor this race, and I was maybe 3 months into business, so that was quite a chunk of money since I wasn't really bringing anything in yet. And it was freezing cold. It was outside. It brought me no business. No one even came over to my table because it was so crowded. You couldn't even see my tent.
Oh my gosh.
And I had this raffle, and I brought my table. I was going to do cupping. Like, I'm all excited. And like, I had my family come and help out, and like, I printed out these flyers in color, like completely used my cartridge, and nothing at all.
Oh man.
Nothing.
But again, a lesson learned, right? And it's like, but if you now the question, if you keep doing it that way, it's like, okay, well then definition of insanity, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you found like a success story, something that is working for you, or something that has been worthwhile spending the money on?
Yeah, I've had a couple things. I would say one for like more so my in-person services, joining the chamber and like going to networking events and meeting people has been huge, because the people that send me referrals, those are the best clients, and then I can send them people back. But as far as like the nutrition portion, online, as far as like Instagram and Facebook, has been really, really worthwhile.
Anybody who's been following us for a while, you know, social media, it is free. You can free Facebook, a free Instagram. Your ROI, if you take advantage of it and do it right, can be astronomically awesome. And then obviously they always want you to buy ads and stuff. And I have a lot of opinions on that too. That's for a whole nother day. But use the free tools you guys have, especially if you're new, starting a new business. And it sounds like it's working for you.
Yeah.
So far.
A learning curve, but works.
The hard part is it's the content, you know, it's you, because the big thing is you always got to be posting always. And,
Constantly.
and then it's just like content. And then sometimes I know people fear because they feel like they're giving away their expertise for free. And honestly, like that's part of it. But usually people need more hand holding than what you're giving in the videos or what posts or anything anyway. So well, a whole nother conversation for that for another day. So let's talk about your services. So you talked about you do acupuncture and cupping, right?
Yeah.
In person. Can you kind of like, for myself, like, and maybe the other listeners, what are those and like what's like the benefits and stuff from these things?
Yeah, totally. So it's similar for acupuncture and cupping. Like cupping went super viral a number of years back with like Michael Phelps with like the circular bruises on his back. That's cupping. So
so the thing that's a suction, like okay. Now I was like, I'm cupping. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So starting with cupping, I guess, like, you know, it helps with really tight muscles. So, you know, think athletes or people that are having pain, like neck pain, back pain, shoulder, whatever. Even people that, you know, sit at a desk all day long. It helps bring blood flow to the surface. And the shortest explanation is that blood flow helps the muscles heal. It's a little more complex than that, but that's kind of like my surface level explanation. Acupuncture works in a similar way. It's just based on the meridian systems in the body. It's ancient Chinese medicine. They correspond to different organs, which don't necessarily have like the same explanation that we would have for them in Western medicine, but you know, they correspond to different conditions. So like, to give an example, I could do an acupuncture point on your hand that could help your lower back pain. So
wait, what?
Yeah.
So you can... So, like, all right, I'm going to dumb this down. So, acupuncture itself, so you're taking a needle and putting it in very particular places on the body.
Yes.
And you're telling me you could do it to my hand and it could do, like, make me feel better in my back?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, either like science or magic. I don't know, but okay.
So it's almost a bit of both in a way. So like ancient Chinese medicine, they were onto something that I don't think they quite realized. So they said that these meridians correspond to different organs, but what they really correspond to is like our Western medicine explanation are nerve pathways. So if you think of it that way, like a nerve can be stimulated in the hand that still is connected to the low back. Like it can sort of make sense for people a little bit better that way.
Okay, then wouldn't you just... Like, tell me I'm dumb, but wouldn't you want to just put the needle right into my back? Like, wouldn't that make more sense?
So people think that, and sometimes just to appease like the mind and give you that placebo, I'll put some there. But realistically, the meridians start on the hands and feet, so the most powerful points are going to be on the hands or feet.
No shit.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try this acupuncture thing now, but like, I'm gonna question, like, is that placebo or is that a way? You know?
Usually I'm pretty honest about it. Like if someone's like, my shoulder hurts, I'm like, well, you didn't put any in my shoulder. I'm like, I'll put one there. Like if that helps you believe that it's working, I'll put one there. But
now with the acupuncture, like, so I have a big thing, like, again, for anybody who's listened, I have a very strong opinion around the medical space, and more about medicine, like. Because I feel medicine is more of like they're trying to cover the problem, not cure the problem, right? Like, does that make sense? Like, you know, it's like when you take Tylenol for a headache, it's actually not like making the headache go away. It's just covering it until it actually goes away. Yeah. Is like, so with acupuncture, can you, like, if I have like a chronic pain problem or a chronic something problem, like, can it actually like cure it and make it go away? Is that like a thing? Or am I thinking about this wrong?
No, I mean, you're on the right track. I don't love using the word cure. I always like to say help because...
Oh, you're such a doctor.
Well, you can get yourself into trouble with claims. If I'm like, I can cure your anxiety, I'm like, well, Maybe not, but if you are trying to maybe get off an anxiety drug, you could do acupuncture to help it, or like insomnia, but you never want to make claims where you're like, I can make everything perfect.
We can make it 99.9% perfect.
Like a really good improvement.
No, I totally get. I mean, the legal space on that too is such a nightmare for you guys, for everybody. I mean, insurance just makes it a nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, all right, so we've got cupping. Okay, I want to go back. I want to talk about this cupping one for a minute because I've only seen the aftermath. I've seen the bruises on people and like from like, and they're using it from like a recovery perspective, like athlete, like Michael Phelps, probably same idea. He swam for probably 10 hours just because he's a half fish and he's trying to recover those muscles. How like is it as simple as like they're just a special cup and like how you like? Is it vacuum? Like, is it like a vacuum seal? Like, how is it working?
So there's two different kinds of cups. So like the ones I use a hand pump on the top. So there's basically like this little valve and that sucks the air out. But then there's also fire cupping, which is a little more old school, where you light like a cotton ball dipped in alcohol and fire and you put it inside a glass cup, which sucks the oxygen
It kills all the oxygen out of there, yeah.
But you have to be pretty quick, and you can accidentally burn somebody, and like with the whole legal stuff, I don't need all that. So.
Fire and bodies, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
You don't want to light off the sprinklers in your building either, so that can happen.
Yeah, okay. Catch my hair on fire, something like that.
That too.
Okay, so we got cupping, we got acupuncture. Are those your two main in-person services, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So then that is that side of it. Now we have the nutritional side of it. And this is all on like via online, like one-on-one, like Skyping type thing. What does that look like?
Yeah. So one-on-one video calls. The first one's an hour, and then it's deep dive into health history and goal setting and figuring out what's going to work. And then weekly check-ins for 12 weeks total.
12 weeks?
Yeah.
What's the special number around 12 weeks?
I wish I knew. It's funny because like in the chiropractic world, we always said like, 12 weeks is like your general time frame. But realistically, like on the weight loss side of things, if I only have a client for a month, like you'll see some changes, but that's not enough for someone to end a program and be like, wow, I really got results from that. Like you need at least 90 days, if not more, to see changes as far as like your body composition, because you can really only lose up to a maximum of 2 pounds a week.
Healthy.
Yeah. And it's usually lower. I mean, it's usually 0.5 to 1 maybe. So.
Oh man, it's going to take me a long time to lose this weight. 2 pounds a week, so carry the mess. Oh, well, that's a couple of years. Got it. Okay. So then these online classes, I'm assuming, so your in-person office is in Barrington, and then but the online, that allows you to reach anybody anywhere, right?
Yeah. So all over the country, even out of the country, if the time zones weren't super crazy, I could probably make it work still.
Well, to all our international listeners that I have on here, she can work with you there, which actually is pretty cool too, because we do have a pretty wide fan base that's nationwide. Not all of them can drive up to Barrington and get some cupping, but they can definitely get some one-on-one nutritional coaching.
And with that, the first visit, that's 45 minutes, it's free. So like if you're thinking about it, you're like, I don't know, like maybe is this right for me? I do a 45-minute free consult, and we just make sure it's the right fit. So it's really no risk.
Oh, and I like a no risk. So obviously it found, like, let's talk about that for a second. So a 45-minute, the initial consult, like, and if it's a fit, it's a two-way street, right? Because I want to make sure I want to work with you, but you have to also make sure I'm the right client too, right?
Yeah.
So what do you guys kind of cover in that first consult? What would that look like?
So it talks a lot about like, what are your goals? Like what, and for me, I'm like, I want to make sure somebody has a realistic goal, because if someone's like, I want to lose 100 pounds in 30 days, I'd be like,
I wish.
unless you like chop off your leg. I don't know. So like I try to make sure that like somebody's goals are realistic and that I can help them reach their goals, because I don't want to put somebody through a program, pay for it, and they're not getting what they want to get out of it. So, I'm not the right fit for everybody, and that's totally fine. But, it's an investment as far as money and time. So making sure it's, good on both ends.
And then, let's say we agree on this council, we're going to start working together, right? And you talk about a 12-week program. Are we meeting on a weekly basis, like twice a week, 3 times a week? What does that look like?
So the video calls are on a weekly basis. They're 15 to 30 minutes, just depending on what we need to cover. But in between, there's messaging support through an app. So if you have a question, no matter how small, big, whatever, if you're like, I'm at the grocery store and like, I don't know if this is a good choice, like, it doesn't matter. Just ask. And then that way I can, support in between. So it's really like you have access to me almost 24/7.
Oh my God, that sounds scary.
Well, I don't have to respond right away. And I let people know,
That's true. But yeah, but that accessibility is nice though. Like just knowing that like, hey, I'm not going to have to wait all week or, or I'm trying to figure out. So I'm assuming it sounds like, so a lot of it's focused around nutrition, right? What to eat, what not to eat. Do you include any kind of like exercise program around that too, on top of all this?
Yeah. So the vast majority of people have signed up for the program that includes it. Like if somebody already has something super established, I'll kind of customize it for them where that portion is not there. But on the app I was telling you about, it's got the messenger, it's got the meal plan recipes, and it's got exercises. So
it's a full package.
Everything. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in one place too. So it's on your phone and a website. You can take it with you on vacation, at work, or at the gym. And that way, like, somebody's getting exercises based on like their goals, their fitness level, like what they have access to. And it's really, it makes it even more customized because, if you're getting one-on-one coaching, you want it personalized, that's the value of it.
So how much extra is it for you to have him cook me healthy food?
I know, right? I've gotten asked that so many times, like, well, you're going to come to my house and cook for me? And I was like, honestly, like, should I start charging a fee for that?
Or what you should do is find a partner, like not a partner, but like another company to like partner up with and like, hey, like I have a service I can offer, and then there's a little business relationship there, maybe. So you can offer it, but you don't have to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, I've thought about that. Like if there's, meal prep companies. I mean, there are ones I would like and follow what I recommend, but just haven't gotten that far yet.
Slowly but surely, as you grow into a huge conglomerate.
Yeah. Yeah.
First world problems. I hate cooking. I hate it. I am so lucky to have a wife that is doesn't mind cooking, but is really, really good at it. Like otherwise I am a peanut butter and jelly pizza, like kind of guy.
Yeah.
You okay? You keep going.
No, I have the worst allergies right now. No, it's funny. A lot of people are like that. Like, I don't want to cook, but I want to lose weight. I'm like, well, we might have to cook at least a little bit. Like, even once or twice a week. Like, we can't just eat out all the time.
I like eating out. I like socializing. I like the experience.
Yeah. And you can totally eat out and socialize. Like, I'm not going to ever tell people, like, you can't have beer or you can't have pizza.
I'm literally drinking beer. Yeah.
Like, I'm not one of those people. It's just like figuring out, okay, well, how do we fit that in and make it work? Okay, well, instead of 5 days a week, like, can we do 2? Or like, you just have to figure out how the foods you want to eat can work for you.
Interesting. I want to eat healthy. So we were talking about this right before the podcast or before we started recording, and I've meal prepped a handful of times. I used to actually be like, contrary to popular belief, those that hang out with me, I used to be like a gym rat, like big time, like hardcore, like I wouldn't eat pizza, I wouldn't have a beer, nothing, and like work out like 7 days a week and meal prep the hell. And now I meal prep, or if I do, I make all these meals and then like half of them go to waste. I just end up not using them. I'm so like, my big problem is always accountability, I think. But like, I kind of know what to eat and not to eat. I know what to do at the gym and not to do at the gym. But man, I just doing it. I have a million excuses, and which a lot of people do. That's a big thing. I know it is, but so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for a second, okay?
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people have a friend or someone who knows that it's in the nutrition space or a personal trainer or something along those lines, right? What differentiates you from your competition?
This is a good one. And it's always so awkward because you're kind of bragging about yourself. But, I've gone through a lot of different phases in my life as far as nutrition and like eating well and eating crappy and figuring it out for myself. And, when I was in like high school and younger sports, I came from kind of a more disordered eating space where I was like, really, really conscious of what I was eating. I wasn't eating healthy. And then, with my ankle last year, I gained a bunch of weight because obviously I'm just sitting there. So I've had a lot of different moments where I've had to lose weight or I've had to kind of repair my relationship with food. So I think like having that personal aspect where I can relate to people versus there's a lot of people out there that, are trainers or coaches, but they are like bodybuilders and they look perfect. And I'm not perfect. And I feel like I'm a bit more relatable than some others.
Ooh, that was good. That was really good. That was the perfect time to don't be modest. Like this is your business, your skill set and why. And I think the relatability piece is huge. I think I kind of went through a similar phase when I was looking for a personal trainer. Like, yeah, I want somebody who's fit to work out with me, but I don't want somebody who's maybe not only always been fit, but understand like, hey, like I used to be fit. Now I'm not fit and now I want to get fit again. Like, and getting on my same mental level of understanding that. And I think that's huge. So I love that. Great job. Good pitch. All right. So we're a year in on your own. What?
A year in October.
A year in October?
Yeah. So
boy,
just
creeping up.
Just under a year actually.
Yeah, okay. Well, because we're in August already. Oh my God. This year is flying by, first off. It needs to slow down.
Yes.
Do you have any like 1 year party plans? Like you're gonna do something?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. You got a little time. You got a couple months. So we kind of talked about your, let's call it advertising snafu, right?
Yeah.
What's the next step for you? Like, what do you want to achieve? Let's talk short term. Like, will you see yourself in like next year or 2 years that like you will know you're progressing for it? Is it just increasing your client base at this time, or what does that look like for you?
Increasing my client base, I think, across like the in-person and online services. But, my main focus right now is really getting more clients for the nutrition business.
Very cool. I think we can, there's a lot of opinions on everything out there, especially on nutrition, right? You can open up TikTok and Instagram and you're finding someone, or you're finding, you open yahoo.com and there's probably an article that tells you something else causes cancer. Or like, I think I literally saw an article that says, you eat too many oranges, it will give you cancer. I think it's true about everything at this point, but what's some of the like, I don't want to maybe call them fads or trends you're seeing right now that you kind of feel are like, not a good idea, or like maybe like are not like maybe just read a little bit more into it before you go down that road kind of thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many.
I figured you were going to have that. It was like, all right, well, how do you pick one? It's like
where to start. I think the thing that comes to mind first is all the weight loss drugs out there. And it's not that I'm against medicines like that. It's not that.
Okay.
But to me, I'm like, if you think about a medication that makes you not want to eat, like at all.
You're talking that really popular one right now.
Yeah. Okay. You can't tell me that's healthy. Like I can understand if maybe like nothing else has worked for you and maybe you need to do that short term or something, but not eating at all is something that I've dealt with clients that have disordered eating problems who aren't getting even enough basic nutrition for them to like build hormones and have brain function. So like you can't tell me that that's a good idea for somebody. There's
Well,
no way.
we were talking about earlier is, there's a certain level of like weight loss that's healthy at a certain pace, right? Like
Yeah.
you were saying, what, 2 pounds a week, right?
That's pretty much the max. Yeah.
And I know some people that have lost way faster on this really popular one that we're clearly insinuating too. Like, so, I mean, there's got to be negative side effects from that, right? Like, there's got to be.
I keep thinking about it. I'm like, we're going to have something 10 years from now coming out with all of these like long-term side effects. So like,
well, and then I wasn't even know what the drug was developed for. Isn't the main one like for diabetes or something like that?
I believe the original usage is to treat, type 2 diabetes. And I have a family member that's on this drug, but, it makes them not want to eat like at all. They forget to eat. They feel faint. Like the wrong person takes it, feels faint, hits their head, you could die. So like, it's dangerous.
Well, that's a big one. That one's hot. The celebrities are on it, talking about it. I have friends, unfortunately, they're on it. They look great. They've lost weight, but, and then the other thing I've heard too is like once you stop taking it, it comes back almost like immediately.
Yeah.
Like because the problem is too, you don't change your lifestyle. A lot of these people.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They're hungry again and they just go back to eating and drinking what they were, or they're not more active. They're not have better eating habits. Anyway. We can talk about that just probably all day, just on that topic alone, right?
Oh, yeah.
What is another, like, what do you see out there, like, even like from a trainer's perspective or a coach's perspective that they're giving advice on that you think is kind of maybe something to reevaluate?
As far as the exercise portion, I think if you have a good personal trainer, they're probably not going to tell you this, but the misinformation that I get is like, oh, well, you just do cardio to lose weight. I'm like, no, that's not it. No, absolutely not.
No?
Think again.
So what would be your counter answer, like counter solution to that? So not just doing cardio, then what should I do?
Yeah. It's hard because you can't completely not cardio. It's important. It's heart healthy and you need to do some of it sometimes. But really, like people that are looking to lose weight, they're trying to essentially lose fat and build muscle, which you're not going to do through cardio. The only way to do it is through strength training and lifting weights.
Yeah. Let's go. Bench press all day. No, but I hear what you're saying. Because, I mean, if you're just doing cardio, I mean, obviously calorie burn's a calorie burn, but to a limit, right? So it's like then, well, you want to gain the muscle, and the more muscle you gain, the more calories you burn. And
yeah. With cardio, it makes you hungrier too, and you're not getting a body composition change. So you end up eating more, and then you're not facilitating fat loss. And it's frustrating because you're like, well, I just burned 500 calories, but you just ate it all back.
And I think, again, there's an article on anything and everything out there, but I swear I read an article too, like after like 10 or 15 minutes of cardio, it's like not doing anything anyway. And then I hear people like, oh, I did an elliptical for 2 hours. And it's like, because your body goes in like a kind of like a shutdown mode, like to protect itself. Like, so you end up like not burning anywhere near. I mean, obviously you're exerting energy, but it's just not the same value the first 15, 20 minutes or whatever it is.
Like 2 hours on any cardio machine is craziness. Don't do that. Excessive.
Time for that.
No, it's boring. It's excessive at that point. Like if you can over exercise with weights too, but over exercise is also harmful. So,
God,
30 minutes a day.
Just 30. All right, I'll cut back then. My bad.
Even 15 minutes, or you know
Anything.
what? My mom had knee replacement surgery almost 2 years ago. I don't know if my math's right on that one, but she had both of them replaced, and she's like, I want to get to walking again. I'm like, all right, well, day 1, walk for a minute. Day 2, walk for a minute and 30 seconds. And like, sometimes you just have to build up slowly. I was like, you know what? You walking for 4 minutes is better than everybody else that's sitting there doing nothing. Like,
yeah, I like that. Small goals, Oh, Mike tripped out there on me. Small goals, small steps, and then gets bigger and bigger. It's like you look at a mountain and you're like, that's, but one step in front of another. Like, how many cliches can we squeeze into one podcast? But
and by the way, she's up to 30 minutes.
There we go. Yeah. 30 minutes is more than I'm doing right now. So I actually have a very great trainer. She's awesome. But let's talk. Let's go down. Where do I want to go with this? We could talk about a lot of things. What's your like favorite piece of advice to give somebody who's getting started back into like nutrition? Like what's something simple and easy they could take home with them?
Probably the easiest thing is getting enough protein. And with that, like a specific recommendation is that you need about 30 grams of protein per meal.
Wait, 30 grams per meal?
Per meal.
That's a shit ton of protein.
It's doable.
You really have to think about it, but
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm undereating my protein, I think. Jeez.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I cut you off. So 30 grams protein per meal. Did I mess up your train of thought on that? I thought you were going to say more. That's the...
Yeah, I mean, that's a minimum of 90 per day. And honestly, most people's needs are significantly higher than that, like closer to, I don't know, anywhere between 115 to like even 160, 175 if you're a bodybuilder, perhaps. Like I got 190 grams yesterday, so it's totally possible.
Would you eat like 3 chicken breasts? Not chicken, but whole chickens, you know?
I did eat a lot of chicken yesterday, but...
I remember I don't miss my just pure chicken and broccoli diet. I used to be one of those guys. Chicken, broccoli, and rice. Chicken, broccoli, and rice.
It gets
chicken,
boring.
broccoli, and rice. Yeah. There's only so many ways you can prep chicken or broccoli.
Yeah.
And there's only so many different rices to eat.
I've been doing shredded chicken, which is a little more interesting for me than like chicken breast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love buffalo sauce was always my like flavoring to go to. It's just like, because salt and pepper, whatever, but
Love hot sauce.
I love hot sauce. Oh, hot take. I like it. I love hot sauce, dude. We could do a hot sauce episode. Oh geez. I'm on like a Chipotle hot sauce kick right now. Side note.
That's really funny you said that, because I had Chipotle hot sauce on my eggs this morning.
See, that's where it's at. Or like, I'm always like a Valentina or a Cholula. I mean, there's so many good ones. But okay. Let's talk about, so you've got online clients, you've got in-person clients. How has it been trying to like balance your time, right? Because you only have so many hours in a day. Yeah. And you sound like you're relatively almost, quote unquote, available for the online app. So how has it been balancing all that? Are you using I'm new, I'm going to put in the extra hours now kind of vibe still?
At first I would kind of message people at all hours and be like available 24/7. I really had to kind of put some boundaries for myself in place there. And then patients are pretty respectful about it. Like they know I'll respond, but I kind of cap things about 7:30 at night. I'm like, okay, nothing else unless I see something that's urgent, which hardly ever happens. Because otherwise I'll just be sitting there on my phone constantly. And you can get very addicted, especially with the Instagram, to just like scroll and click and do this. So you have to like be like, all right, 7:30, I'm putting it away. That's it. But as far as like my schedule, I go into the office twice a week. I'm there Tuesdays and Thursdays. The rest of the time I'm at home.
Okay. So so now I feel a little bit better. So you don't have an in-office Monday through Friday. So so you still, obviously working nights and weekends given, whatever happens, but like, so you don't have the Monday through Friday in office and all the online clients too.
Yeah.
Have you figured out like what's I would call it the pinnacle point of like where you would end up having to maybe like hire help or have someone like an assistant or something like that?
I've thought about it. I was going to base it off a certain number of people in my program, and I was trying to figure out which number I felt like confident at, where I could still like give quality care and handle all my other responsibilities, but I'm still doing okay on my own. So, we'll see.
Not yet. And it would be interesting too, like what responsibility, because you're the doctor, right? So it's like, what responsibilities will you give them to like, so you can like, because you're not hiring another doctor, right? Like,
no.
So it's like, what do you hire like a social media manager or like sales outbound or something, or I think appointment setting? I don't know.
like an appointment setting, like messaging type virtual assistant manager would be on the horizon, because managing like my own emails and then all of the messages from like Instagram and Facebook, it's just like that is what can take me to working all night, because people are in different time zones and it's like, oh.
Or they're tackling these things at a different, they work all day and then now they're thinking about themselves, and it's like, yeah, they see your post and then they message you and then you want to message back because, somebody's seeing your stuff like right now. So it's like, do I miss out on that, like, the warm lead that's hot right now? They're talking to you, and it's like, do I capture it? Do I let it slip? My Eminem reference. Yeah. I'll be here all week. Thank you. I appreciate the laugh. Somebody out there is laughing at me. Probably my wife. All right. We talked a lot of negative things, right? We talked about, the drugs and the bad health habits. And, the one thing I think we were talking about it the other day was like, somebody told me like, don't eat carbs. I'm like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Move on. But what are some of the positive trends that you're seeing? What are the things you are liking that you're seeing that's coming in your industry right now?
So I think kind of two things I've been seeing a lot of online, because I see a lot of the crappy stuff where I'm like, that's horrible advice, is people encouraging a high protein diet, people encouraging, don't be afraid of carbs, just choose the right ones. And also like eating more versus being overly restrictive, which seems counterintuitive to people, but I'm speaking more like volume wise. Like you could eat an entire plate of broccoli, for example, versus like you have an entire plate of potato chips. It's like, well, it's gonna be a lot less calories. So it's trying to like eat more to lose weight kind of thinking.
So if we're looking at that, I want to dig into this one a minute. So there's actually this guy I follow on TikTok. Yep. Yeah, here we go again. But like what he does is like compare like what the calories of one Oreo versus like a plate full of apple slices, right? So are you saying like eating more of the right thing? Is that what you're talking about, where it's like, yeah, it looks like you're eating a lot more, but it's still the same amount of calories, but it's the right stuff? Is that, am I understanding this, what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, that's it exactly. And I've seen some videos about that too, where it's like, I eat a lot or I eat a little. And the people that eat just a little, it's like, they have their giant Starbucks drink that has like 75 grams of sugar, and they eat, a muffin that's 500 calories. And then you can eat like 3 plates worth of good food. So it's just kind of choosing the right things.
There was, God, I can't believe I'm referencing TikTok again. I need to get off the TikTok. But there was a guy, I think it's actually the same guy. He's kind of he likes to go against the, like, call people out on their dumb health things. That's kind of like what he does.
I would love that.
And he was doing Starbucks drinks. And there's one that's like a mocha frappa something or other. And it's got 1,900 calories in it. One drink. Like, so not only like we can talk about just how much sugar's in that all day, but just like, so, I hear there's a lot of like debate around calories and calorie counting and all that. But like, if that's our baseline, like 1,900 calories, some people should be like, that's about what they should be eating depending on like their goals and stuff. And it's one drink that they had for the day. Yeah, blows my mind.
Whole day.
And whipped cream and sugar and there's barely any coffee in there. Drink coffee.
Yeah. Although I have to give them a little credit, at least on the online app, they've changed the layout where it lists drinks that are like low in sugar or like lower calories. So I think they're sort of trying to make it better. I mean, at least
scrutinized the hell in that. That's
probably
why.
At least like that's going to give somebody a bit more of an informed choice, because a lot of times people are just, they're unaware of how bad it is. They're just not looking.
All right. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs on this that listen in, right? In different industries and different businesses, but just like you, they're working like crazy. They don't have time to meal prep, or they don't have time to, excuses. That's what I'm telling you guys. Those are a lot of excuses. But do you have any tips on like quick, easy meals or snacks, or something that they can do that, when they're working their 80, 100-hour weeks and they're not at home and they're in their offices or at their stores, that, they can eat healthy, but you know what I'm asking? Does it make sense? Like just something that like help our other entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I get it. A lot of people are like, I don't have time, or I don't want to meal prep or I just can't. But, there are some really good snacks, and I shy away from a lot of processed foods. But, if you're on the go and busy, you're going to kind of have to sometimes. But my favorite snack combo lately that's high in protein is like a Chomps stick. If you've heard of those, like the meat sticks, they've got full size and minis. It's like a healthier Slim Jim, if you want to call it that. And then Baby Bell cheeses.
The brand's called Chomps.
Chomps.
CHOMPS, Chomps.
Yeah.
And they're healthier, I like that, a healthier Slim Jim. Interesting. Yeah. And those Baby Bells, I love those Baby Bells.
Oh, yeah.
Except like the low fat ones, though. Those taste so gross. I am sorry. I tried.
Yeah, on that too. It's like a lot of times people are caught up on the low fat. Like, you're probably better off just having the full fat. Like, honestly, fat's really not the enemy here. Like, we should be more concerned about sugar and carbs of the crappy kind.
Or the other one where they, when they say it's no sugar, but that's because they use fake sugar. And it's like, so people read labels, like, because it says no sugar on the front. That means no, they're usually trying to market it as no real sugar is added, but they've added like stevia or something in there. And it's like, that's even worse. That's you're going down the wrong road.
Yeah. Chemicals. And then just a forewarning on some of those, if you're getting like no sugar products, like your sugar-free the fake sugars a lot of times cause digestive discomfort. So if you want to be on the toilet all day or have a stomach ache, like, go for it.
Oh, man.
You might as well just have the regular sugar.
Ooh, okay, real sugar. Now, if you need an excuse now for real sugar, there's one for you.
I mean, if you want to get out of work, like, eat a bunch of like the sugar-free candy, and like you will make yourself ill.
Ooh,
for sure.
God,
I've done it because keto candy is like that. So don't do that.
Oh my God. Okay. Good. Noted. And you kind of mentioned this, and this was interesting. So, and I know this a lot. We've talked to a lot of people on this podcast, and some people have had like the best mentor ever, who's been in their industry and since day one and got them to where they're at today. And then someone and then correct me if I'm telling your story wrong, but like you've had that mentor. But have you ran into anybody or talked to anybody that is like either given you a piece of advice that like was so good or a good piece of advice, or somebody that gave you a piece of advice that was so bad they were like, that is what I'm not doing, like, or just somebody that you from afar maybe look to as like, maybe they're not your mentor, but they're kind of more of like, like almost your influencer into what you're doing,
I feel like it's like multi-layered.
Well, peel them away. Let's hear them.
Yeah, I feel like I have a few different answers to this, actually. So I mentioned my grandfather being a lawyer. He started off as a lawyer. He went to law school, and my dad was like a little kid. So, he went to grad school like later in life, and he did a complete career change, which kind of sounds like me, right? Like changing my mind a million times. And he went into like financial advising and wills and trusts and that kind of lawyer stuff. And he opened up his own office, like, I don't know, in the 70s or something, like since forever. My dad's since taken it over, but, I've seen him run his own company and change his mind and kind of start over career-wise. And I was like, oh, I can do it too. Like, it didn't really scare me maybe as much as it should have. But, that was just a strong influence for me as far as like, you can totally run your own business. You just have to figure out how, like, as long as you have the drive, you just have to figure out that how piece.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. You said maybe that's the whole, you went through the whole thing there, but you said there was more layers. Now you got curiosity. It's killing me over here. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, there's like a lot of people I feel like have kind of like influenced me here and there, like over time. Like one of my professors in school, Dr. Martin, he does acupuncture and he focuses on nutrition. He's a professor as well. Like, he doesn't really do like the traditional chiropractic stuff.
Okay.
So like going through school, he was one of, I had him for like 3 or 4 classes, at least, maybe more. But I think he was kind of one of my mentors where I was like, he practices in sort of a not as traditional way. And I knew that I had other options.
Yeah, because like when I hear chiropractic, like the first thing is like you're gonna break my neck. I've seen some of those videos, and it's just like I'm like you're gonna paralyze me.
Yeah, don't get me started on the videos.
Well, I clearly just hit. I hit a nerve.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, I get people like want to post videos and get business, and that's what I do with nutrition, right? But when you're a medical professional, like, is somebody like someone who's a surgeon, are they going to post them doing a heart transplant? Like, no.
Give it a couple of years, man. Everyone's streaming everything.
It might happen, but it's just, I don't know. It comes off a little tacky to me. And like you just open the door for criticism and malpractice, and you can scare people, and I don't think it's good. That's not really what I do anymore, but I don't love that.
Yeah, no, and I totally get it. And I also feel like, the trolls. There's always trolls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They always got something to say. But also like some of these things, like I'm not like I've seen it in like firsthand in areas where I could talk about it, but like where it's like staged or fake, or like it's not that extreme. Like they're it's overzealous, right? Like,
absolutely. Like, I mean, as far as the cracking noises, they're putting the microphone so close that it's going to sound so loud. And to, someone who's maybe never been to a chiropractor, they're going to be like, well, it sounds like their bone is breaking in half. And it's like, I think it gives a unrealistic picture, and also expectation that the patient's going to want to hear all these noises all the time. It's not really realistic.
Or they're like immediately cured.
Yeah.
It's like they walk away like 20 years of pain and one chiropractic session and I can walk again.
I'm just going to go ahead and debunk that. That's not the way it works. Unfortunately, like if it did, I would probably be a millionaire at this point. So.
Okay. So what do we want to talk about? What do you want? I know we've gone all over the place, but there's anything you wanted to talk about today?
Nothing really that comes to mind.
Okay. So let's go this route then. Let's do this. What if you would... Wow. Let me try that again. If you were going to give someone a piece of advice that's getting into your industry, what would you give them?
Well, one, don't spend $700 sponsoring a race unless you are sure you have the cash flow and you're sure that you're going to get business out of it, which to me is like nothing super duper crowded or cold or on a holiday. And you want to not be the only vendor.
Wow, you are really burned by this sponsorship.
Yeah, it was my first one I ever did, so it's just like it was a huge learning experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't do that.
The argument, so I'm going to play devil's advocate because that's what I like to do. I like to play devil's advocate, is the fact that you could have silver lining. It's a branding thing. They saw you, but they didn't talk to you. But then they'll see you again on your Facebook, and they still haven't talked to you. But then they'll see you on Instagram, and they're like, all right, I keep seeing this girl everywhere. Like, I need to talk to her. What is going on? So maybe some seeds were planted that day. Maybe. No. All right, I tried.
I wish I could look at it that way.
Yeah, it's tough, though.
But I don't think so. I think it's really like trying to figure out, like, obviously you want brand recognition and visibility, but like what the best way is to do it. And like you're gonna have to spend some money, but doing it in a way that you have a reasonable expectation of an ROI.
Yeah. Hard part is to how do you measure ROI too on some things. And that like, so I work my day job over for an advertising company where you talk to people in marketing, and they're so hard. Like you can quantify some things, but there's just some things that's just like, you have to do it just to do it. From a branding perspective and things like that, where, it's just like you feel as like yourself as just you, and you're just starting up of like you're burning cash, and it's just like, and it hurts, and you just hope there is an ROI, and people get skeptical or get burned or just they get and just some things we do learn the hard way. Been there, done that. Like I always give people a hard time that I see that spend fortune, and not that they are very expensive, but like these super elaborate expensive business cards. And I always ask everybody, it's like, okay, you get these business cards. How often do you get a business card? often, right? Like you meet somebody, they give you a business card. How often do you do anything with it? Ends up in the garbage, ends up in the washing machine. It ends up on the floor because you forget or whatever. Like, unless there was like a very intensive conversation and with an intent to follow up versus like, here's my card. Like, if you ever need anything, like that card is gone, you know? And it's just like, what you want is, and when I say you, I'm not saying you, Lauren, I'm saying in general. I'm getting on a soapbox here for a second, but like, you want to get a way where somebody, you know, here, follow my Instagram, follow my Facebook. We can connect that way. Because then what is going to happen is they're going to see your content, right? And it's like, great, maybe they're not a customer today, but 3 months, 6 months, a year, whenever the timing is right, they're already seeing your stuff. Where that business card is long gone. They forgot you. They don't know who you are. They didn't think of calling you unless you had some kind of conversation and they're in the market right then and there and they're going to call you tomorrow morning. More than likely not. But yeah.
No, I do like that. I've sort of incorporated that when I've done in-person events at, like, you know, I did one at the smoothie bar a couple times. Like, I did a little raffle and people come up, talk to me, they can fill out a raffle ticket. But to get the raffle ticket, I had QR codes of like, follow my Instagram, follow my Facebook. So like, you know, I hand out business cards and, you know, like you said, it ends up in the garbage probably. But at least that gives them like a connection to me and a way to contact and see my stuff and what I'm about.
Or or if you guys have ever, like, to your raffle point, which is really what I like, I'm going to piggyback on that. Like, you see the car giveaways or, you know, all this, and those big companies, all they're trying to do is actually gather your data. They want your email address, and now you're on a list. Now you're going to be advertised to, and the cost of them for that one car, to have somebody stand there and gather all your emails and phone numbers and all that. You know what? They're going to sell plenty of cars now because they've got your info and they're going to advertise the shit out of you. But data capture, that's a big thing. It's an entire industry in itself too. So I segued. This is not what we're here to talk about. We're not talking about my opinions on marketing. We're here to talk about Dr. Lauren. All right. So we've got in-person stuff. We've got nutritional stuff. What's your opinion on like supplements and things like that?
Ooh, this is a hot take. So I guess I'll start off by saying that a supplement, like in and of the word, it's a supplement, right? It's designed to supplement what you're not able to get through your diet. Do people need them? Are they useful? Absolutely. But if you're eating a balanced diet and frankly, you're following what I told you to do.
Called out. Okay.
Yeah, which is, you know, I get it. It's hard to make, you know, changes sometimes, but they're designed to be a supplement, like something that probably everybody should take in the state of Illinois. And even though it's summer, is vitamin D. We just don't get enough sunlight here. So like things like that, you know, there's a couple basic things like a lot of people could benefit from, like, you know, fish oil, probiotic. But there's also supplements where they're just not useful. And I think people that just go out and buy them on their own sometimes have like heard from a friend of a friend, like, oh, you should take fiber or you should take calcium. And like, it's not coming from a doctor or medical professional. Like, you haven't had a blood test or evaluation. So like literally, if you're just kind of buying stuff, you're pissing it in the toilet. You're pissing your money away.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the supplement thing too, like not all supplements are created equal, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So do you have either like a brand preference or like should it be a powder, a pill, a liquid? Like, what's the doctor's opinion on that? So
different forms are good for different things, as far as like powder and pills and gummies and all that good stuff. But I use a website called FullScript, and they have like so many different brands. I mean, hundreds of different brands. That way I can make a recommendation where, like, if I want somebody to take, you know, a vitamin D from this company and a fish oil from that company, they can order it online and it'll be drop shipped to their house. So I can, you know, pick and choose as far as companies go. With FullScripts, it's all practitioner grade supplements. So they're not things that you can buy in the store. And if you can find them online, like Amazon, they're most likely not actually that brand. People will buy the containers and like reseal them. So just be careful of that, because unless it comes from a practitioner's office or a site like Full Scripts, there's some other ones that are similar. Like you don't really totally know what's in there because the practitioner grade, why they're called that, is they're third party tested and made sure that they, have what they say they have. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I heard kind of things like that. I didn't realize how prominent it was. What do you think there are any supplements out there like, or vitamins or anything that like everyone's like, oh, you should take that are like totally like, like useless?
This might be controversial to some people.
Yeah, hot take. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I think multivitamins are kind of garbage. And I know that's going to like, oh, I take mine every day. I'm like, well, I took my Flintstone ones when I was like 3 as well. But like the concept of a multivitamin, like we have water soluble and fat soluble vitamins, like, A, D, E, K, C, all those. Like C, for example, is water soluble. You throw that in a supplement that also has vitamin D in it, which is fat soluble. Well, you're mixing all this stuff together that dissolves differently. So the absorbability and the actual like benefit you're getting is not so great with a multi. So like if you get most of your vitamins from eating good whole foods and then you have maybe a vitamin D supplement, you're way better off.
That's crazy. So maybe a little TMI here. I tried to start taking a multivitamin off of total bullshit advice, not doctor led whatsoever, but I'd get sick every time I would take a multivitamin. I tried like 3 different brands, literally sick to my stomach every time I took it.
Did you take it with food?
Debatable. It was actually, probably not. I was probably was taking it in the morning. I'm not good at eating breakfast. I just drink coffee. So I probably like popped it in and washed it down with coffee is literally probably what I did that every morning.
Yeah. That's another thing too, is like some of the different vitamins or minerals that's in a multi, like the one that comes to mind is zinc. Like if you take a zinc pill on an empty stomach, like it'll hurt your stomach, like cramping, you'll feel nauseous. So that's the other thing. Multi really need at least some food in there to not, but they're kind of garbage anyway. So just don't take them.
Yeah, I stopped taking it after feeling. It wasn't worth feeling sick.
I mean, there's some people that might need one. Like
let your doctor, oh, we should give our disclaimer. None of this is all opinion based. See a doctor. Don't, talk to your doctor. Meet with Lauren, but don't sue me. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not prescribed. He just said go buy. My doctor told me I needed a shit ton of vitamin D. It was really low. But I go outside. In my office, I even moved my office into the where windows and sun. But
yeah, that's probably the number one thing that people are like chronically low in at least in this region.
Oh, maybe you can answer this because I just was thinking about this the other day. There's 2 main vitamin Ds, right? Isn't there like a D3 and like a D5 or something, or a D12? Is there a difference, or am I totally making something up right now?
There's a couple different ways to take it. Like D3 is going to be the most common. I usually recommend people getting a supplement that's D3 plus K2, and that helps the absorbability.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like a blend of these 2. Okay, so maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe that's what I was reading about.
Yeah.
D3 K2, D3 with a K2.
Yeah.
What's K? What is that?
Vitamin K.
Wow.
I didn't mean for that to sound sarcastic.
I deserve that. I walked into that one. Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I thought it was like just short for something, but totally not.
It's like the fat soluble are A, D, E, and K. So like it would make sense that one fat soluble will help the absorbability of another. But yeah, it's like I said, you don't be pissing your supplements away. You want them to be absorbed, right? So that helps it.
Why do my vitamins change the color of my urine? Like there's like nuclear. Like sometimes it looks like it's like neon. TMI. I might cut this. This is weird. This just got weird.
That's the vitamins coming out in your pee.
Okay.
So like the water soluble, you can only absorb so much. So after you've hit that limit, like whatever the milligrams or IUs are, the rest will come out in your pee.
Yeah, it looks nuclear. It's weird. That was when I was on that multivitamin that I don't do anymore.
That'll happen. It's not totally concerned, but yeah, I mean, you want to make sure it's absorbed.
Oh, well, wasn't taking the multivitamin anymore, so it don't even matter. Sweet. That took a left turn, vitamin K. We learned something new today. And I am peeing nuclear colors. Okay. So, recap. Dr. Lauren, we do in-person cupping and acupuncture. Oh, one thing on the acupuncture, maybe you can shine some light on. For your acupuncture, are there certain things that like you're focused on for treating with acupuncture, or is it kind of open or?
So I'd say it's kind of open, but there's a few things that are probably the most common and things that I like to do with it. First off, it's probably 90% pain-based. So whether it's like physical pain or headaches or, muscle pain, it's a lot of pain. But something I worked on a lot in school is acupuncture for more like mental health and disorders. So like, anxiety or PTSD is something I worked on in the Veterans Clinic with Dr. Martin. So you can do it for different things like insomnia. But something that I've really liked to work with is women that are trying to conceive, because acupuncture has a very stimulating effect. So like if someone's going through IVF and they couple it with acupuncture, it can be something that'll increase their chances of getting pregnant, which is super cool.
That's really interesting. Oh, well, I'm glad we snuck that one in there. I've never heard about that with acupuncture. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Maybe women have. Maybe I'm really out of touch. And we've got the cupping. We talked about that. And then your whole online nutritional program that runs 12 weeks at a time, right? Mm-hmm. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So honestly, probably my Instagram. It's at Dr. Lauren Elizabeth, so DR, and that's really my nutrition Instagram. And then my in-person office is at Level, LEVELHW.
Well, cool. We'll also, as always, tag all these things in the post, guys, so it's easy to find. I know I suck at spelling. So, well, Lauren, I appreciate all your time today. This has been very eye-opening, very hot take controversial. I'm going to go throw away all my multivitamins, but appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, again, people, thank you. Support small, shop local. My name is Eric Bull, and I'm your host of Small Business, Big Dreams. And until next time, goodbye for now. And that wraps up another episode of Small Business, Big Dreams. Thank you for joining us. Please support us and these incredible small businesses by sharing this podcast with friends, family, and on your social networks. Spreading the word not just helps us grow, but more importantly, supports the dreams of our local entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. But if you have a small business we should hear about, reach out to us on social media or our website. We would love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm your host, Eric Bull. Keep supporting small businesses, and goodbye for now.